In the 1950s in the United States, there was a wonderful comedian, Jack Benny, who had a great show called The Jack Benny Show. And in one of the scenes, a mugger points a gun at him and says, "Your money or your life." Jack Benny is silent, and so the mugger repeats, "I said your money or your life." At that point, Jack Benny replies, "I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about it." It says people are seemingly reluctant to give away their belongings. There's a certain attachment and a certain sense of possessiveness. And we're going to be looking today in the context of the Parsha Mishpatim, if indeed holding on to our property or increasing our property really brings us happiness and satisfaction in life, and even whether or not it even brings us a sense of abundance. The Jews are being commanded to erect the tabernacle, the Svetostanok, and for this they need materials. And the system which God has chosen to get all those materials was gold, and different kinds of wood and different kinds of textiles, is that people will donate them. In addition to a uniform half-shekel head tax, which everyone will pay, spoken more about in the future Parsha of Kitisa, but also mentioned, referred to in this week's Parsha. And in fact, the very name of the Parsha, although the Parsha goes into great detail about the construction of the tabernacle and about the materials and the vessels which were used in the tabernacle, nonetheless, the title of the Parsha does not refer to those things, but refers to the collection of the materials. The name of the Parsha is Teruma, and Teruma means a gift, a donation. And the very first verse says, "Speak to the children of Israel and have them take for me a teruma," this donation. Then it goes on to specify the various things that were needed to be taken from people in order to eventually use these materials to construct the Mishkan, the tabernacle. Now there's a strange grammatical irregularity in the verse in the Hebrew. It says, "V'tikchuli, v'yikchuli truma." V'yikchu comes from the word lakachat, to take. And then it says, "To me, teruma," a donation. And so many of the commentators dwell on this point and say that it should have said, "They should give to me this teruma, this donation." Why does it say that they should take? And many, including the Khatam Sofer, find in this an allusion to the fact that it is by giving that we actually acquire. And that's a very deep point. Regarding charity, we find in the Talmud it says that more than the giver helps the receiver, the poor man, it is the poor man who helps the one who gives by giving him this opportunity to perform chesed, to perform an act of love. It seems that this idea has somehow gotten into scientific research, because in an article in 2008 in Science magazine in April, it says that a large body of research has demonstrated that income has a weak effect on happiness. Once the basic needs are met, beyond that, although the income curve can increase dramatically, the happiness curve remains relatively flat as compared to the curve of increasing income. And the reason is that people put their increased wealth into pursuits that do not provide lasting happiness. And they conducted a scientific survey. First, 600 Americans were asked to detail how they spend their money, divided into necessary expenses, gifts for themselves, and gifts for others, and finally donations to charity. And the more people devoted their so-called discretionary income above their basic needs to social spending for others, the greater was their happiness compared to those who spent their discretionary income on themselves. And furthermore, a study was done in which people got bonuses, and the ones that spent more of their bonus on social spending, on charitable causes, derived greater happiness than those who spent it on more consumption for themselves. The amount, by the way, does not have to be a lot. Even small donations to charity have the effect of happiness. So we see it quite here, and it's quite interesting. How do we explain this? In general, the idea that it is what we give, that which we have acquired, is illustrated by a well-known story, a Jewish story. There was a great king, and he had a wonderful advisor who was Jewish. And at one point, he asked him to give a report of his holdings, what he owns. And when the report was inspected by the king, it was clear right away that many of the properties that it was known that this advisor had were not listed. And immediately, fingers were pointed. He's deceiving the king, trying to hide his holdings, but he explained, not at all. When you told me to write everything that I have, I wrote down everything that I gave to charity. Those will always be mine. Everything else is ethereal. The ships can sink, the forests can burn. The only thing that I truly have are those things that I gave away. Let's look at this through another lens now. We know that in the Pirkei Avot it says, Ezehu Ashir, who is wealthy, Hasamech Bechalko, the one who rejoices in his portion. Often people translate this, the one who is satisfied. That in fact is not a good translation. Sameach is connected to the word simcha, there's a joy, and that's a very big difference. We will see it now. In general, in the ethical Jewish works, there is a model of human existence which says that just like God created the world, though he did not need to, it was done out of also chesed, an act of giving and love, that the more we give, the more we become godly. And the more we are takers, the less we can become godly, the farther we move from that image of God. And therefore, the various Talmudic teachings and commandments of the Torah are looked at through this lens. And so, according to this way of looking at things, let us look at who is rich, the one who rejoices in his portion and what he has. So if we say that the goal is to become a giver rather than a taker, let us look at the possibilities. What do we say about someone who is not happy with what he has? He would like to have more. He's a taker. Let's move up one notch. What about a person who is happy with what he has? He's okay, he has enough. That person is not a taker. But if he feels he has exactly what he needs, he has also not entered the category of a giver. So he has not yet achieved this goal. Why does the Pirkei Avot praise the one who is rejoicing in this portion? Because when you rejoice, that's not just satisfaction, that's joy. That means he feels he has more than enough. What can someone do when he has more than enough? He can give some away. So it is the joy in what we own, the sense of abundance, that makes us feel that we can actually give some of our money away. We see this, by the way, in the confrontation between Yaakov and Esav, which I've mentioned in a different context, that when they meet up, Esav originally wants to kill Yaakov for stealing the blessings and the birthright. But then Yaakov offers a huge gift of flocks and other things. And Esav is appeased, and they hug each other. And Esav says, "What is all this?" Yaakov says, "This is to find favor in your eyes. Accept this gift." Esav says, "That which is yours, let it remain yours. For I have much. Yeshli Rav. I have a lot." And Yaakov says, "No, please take my gift. Because God has shown me grace. Yeshli Kol. And I have everything." So first of all, the commentators, Kli Yakar, for example, explain that the difference between Rav and Kol. Rav is connected to the word Ribui, which means adding on, many things. So it's a multiplicity, first of all. And second of all, he's saying Rav and not Kol. I have a lot, but not everything. Because no matter how much that person who is into materiality acquires, he never feels that he has everything that he needs. Yaakov, on the other hand, represents the tzaddik, the spiritually inclined individual, who feels he has everything that he needs, even if it's very little. It's everything. When you have everything, that's a lot. That's an abundance. And if we look at the comparison, Esav, who says, Yeshli Rav, I have a lot, what does that lead him to say? I don't need your gift. Thank you very much. I have what I have, you have what you have. Yaakov, who says, Yeshli Kol, I have everything. And think about it, it doesn't make sense. Take my gift, I have everything. Well, if I have everything now, if I give you something, then I'm going to have less. That's not the attitude of Yaakov. The mentality of Yaakov is, even after I give you, I will still have everything. What I have is everything. There's a wholeness and a oneness in what I have, in my being reconciled with my material situation. Therefore, that puts me in the category of a giver. And indeed, we know the different attributes of those who give. Also in Pirkei Avot, it says, one who says, that which is mine is mine, that which is yours is yours. Now, first of all, there's an individual, very interestingly, says, what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. It sounds great, but actually, the Mishnah does not praise this approach and says that person is an ignoramus. That's not sharing, that's not love, that's just chaos. The concept of giving begins with the idea that we have something and that we share it. So it says, the one who says what is mine and what is yours is mine, that's the bad person. Doesn't mean he's going to steal. I have what I have, but I could also have what you have. I could use some more. The ideal is shali shalach, what is yours, and what is mine is yours. I'm ready to give. I have an abundance. I feel a sense of abundance. I feel a sense of oneness in what I have, and I can even have less, and I will still feel happy. So that is the idea, that the person who has this attitude of abundance becomes a giver. He's able to give away. But what is strange, and what we learn from taking the donation, even as we are giving it, is that it works the other way around. The act of giving also brings upon the sense of abundance. Sometimes we don't really want to give, but we realize the situation demands it. We don't have the joy necessarily in doing it. But after one gives, one realizes, hey, I gave, and I still, look what I have. My observation that I gave evokes within me the sense of abundance after the fact. There's a very cute kind of a folktale about this, about a farmer who's complaining he has 4 kids. He's married, of course. There's no room in this tiny house. There's a mess. They don't have enough place to eat, not enough room to sit. Goes to his wise rabbi who says, do you have a cow? Sure, we have a cow. Take the cow into the house. Comes back a week later. New Yankel, is it better? Oh, worse, you're kidding. The cow, it kicks around with milk. What should I do now, Rabbi? Do you have a goat? Yes, take the goat into the house. Oy vey. A week later, Yankel, is it better? No, worse, the cow and the goat. What should I do now? Take the chickens into the house. And he does this, and finally comes, Rabbi, it's absolutely borderline. We cannot take it anymore. The cows and the chickens and the goat and the 4 kids and my wife, what should I do now? Rabbi says, take out the cow and the goats and the chickens. Again, a few days later, the Yankel comes back. Rabbi, you're the wisest rabbi in the world. Now we have paradise. So the opening up the home to more then gave him afterwards a sense of abundance. And so too with giving, it is after we give that then we realize that we had more than we thought. And so when we come back to the idea of what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, what is strange, the Mishnah says, the one who says what is mine and yours is yours, that's the intermediate category. Then it says, and some say it's the attribute of Sodom. Sodom were people who were very selfish, and they were considered very bad people and sinners before God. This is the attribute of Sodom. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. It sounds very fair. So, but actually what he's saying is, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. I won't take your stuff, but don't touch anything that's mine either. This, from the point of view of Judaism, is a bad thing. Without giving, without chesed, we don't have the unity, and we're unable to bring out within ourselves a sense of generosity.